Hey everyone, Shiv here. Alright, so we're going to be doing a review of a Hearthhead article that's basically looking at some of the blue responses to some of the things that have been coming up in regards to this new standard format that's coming out and all the changes that are going about it. And some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's just fucking stupid. Alright, so let's get to it. Now again, as you guys know, I do kind of hold Blizzard up to a much more painful degree than I do other people because they're the guys who actually make this thing, and you'd think that the people who make something would have a little bit more common sense than the average person. Sometimes no. But hey, they're all human, so we should give them a little bit of, benefit of the doubt while memeing the fuck out of them. Alright, so we're going to talk about a couple things here. We've got like arena balancing, Murk-Eye nerfs, packs, standard format card backs, all that fun shit. So let's get to this shit. Alright, so arena balancing. Hey, what do we need to make Arena better? And the first thing that came to my mind is remove fucking Mage. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. But the better answer here is new cards in the next expansion which make the weaker classes viable, especially Warrior, so that not everyone picks Paladin and Mage. True fucking fact. I mean, I really don't have to talk about this too much. We all have played Arena. We all know exactly why it is a pain in the ass. You know, facing up against 9 fucking mages in a row is not fun. True fact. Alright. Then we get to where shit gets really dumb. And it gets dumb on two parts here. Both Ben and the guy he's talking about. And Ben, I'm sorry, you did kind of stick your dick in the electric fence here. So yeah, we're going to talk about this a little bit here. Alright. So, I'm not going to read all of this out loud because that would just take way too fucking long, and, well, it's Twitter, so 140 characters, bad grammar, whatnot. Alright. Basically, so you talk about balancing WoW, but then all you're doing is moving shit over. That way you don't actually have to work on it, so it's going to become an OTK fest. And he's in reference to the whole anything can happen here. Now, just a little review. Anything can happen is a 10 mana card for Paladin that basically resummons every dead Murloc. Okay, why is this nasty? Because if you've gotten both your Bluegill Warriors and you've gotten your Murloc War Leaders as well, and old Murk-Eye already dead, then you can, on turn 10, basically go surprise butt sex and really hurt the shit out of them. True fact, you can. And it's really nasty. The problem is the deck is not overly consistent. Even though it packs quite a bit of heals to get it to that 10 mark, it tends not to be that consistent. It's not a hugely popular deck because most people don't really care to play an OTK deck. Even when Hunter OTK was all the rage, a lot of people realized that this was kind of problematic. Even though Hunter OTK failed more than it won on many cases, it still was highly consistent because of its draw engine. And that's kind of a point that I want to make on this. There's a reason why Blizzard has nerfed certain decks for having certain combinations that were considered to be overly valued, overly consistent, and just downright punishing to the meta. This would be, as already stated, the Hunter OTK, the original Miracle Rogue, the Giant Wombo Combo Warrior, and there's one other, oh yeah, pretty much anything involving Leroy Jenkins, because he was like key synergy for all combo bursts since the end of time. And they took steps to ensure that that was changed. Now, here we are again. Alright. So Ben's going, is like, do you think it's better than other decks that will be in Wild? And the truth be told, no, it's not, because let's be honest, when the whole standard Wild first comes out, what you're going to see is pretty much the top decks in Wild are going to be the top decks that are in the current meta that we're seeing now. Now, there's also going to be some adaptations and some changes that are going to make that a little bit stronger and a little bit weaker. It's actually going to be really funny because you're going to see like certain deck sites actually having 2 different sections, one for Wild, one for Standard. It's going to be fucking amazing. So yeah, should be fun. But will anything be able to compete? No, probably not, because unless they're getting more Murlocs that have charge, I doubt there's anything that's going to make it any more powerful. And as we have already seen, it's pretty easy to counter. Ask Rexxar. Kappa. Alright. It's not a matter of being worse. It wins 60 damage from an empty board doesn't make me want to play. And I'm going to agree with him on this. That is a really nasty feeling. As a warrior player who has routinely gotten up to like 80 life and 60 life and all that, having all of that destroyed in one fell turn or two fell turns is annoying as fuck. True fucking fact. So, yeah, it's really annoying. And it's one of the main reasons why I'm happy Old Murk-Eye is moving over to Wild format, where I don't really give a fuck about it there. Yeah, I may have to face it every once in a while. That's cool, whatever. But all in all, I don't really give a damn. And here's where Ben basically pisses on the electric fence. Shaman could do it right now with Ancestor's Call and Malygos and Burn. There are lots of decks that could do what Anyfin does. Really, Ben? Really? That was your response? A card that works on RNG for a reduction on possibly getting Malygos, which, yeah, good fucking luck on that. Unless you actually design your deck to where you only have one minion, and then you have to basically pull, almost always get that damn Ancestor's Call in the beginning to make sure you always have it. Yeah, I'm sorry, the consistency of that deck is shit. I know, I've tried to make it work, it's shit. So, I mean, this is literally like comparing a tire to an orange. They're not even in the same goddamn category, Ben. Okay, yeah, sure, it's a burst OTK in its own way, but no. So I know. If power level doesn't matter, why are you specifically concerned about Anyfin but not the other decks? Now, when I saw that, before I even get to the response, my initial answer was, well, because Anyfin actually is contradictory to everything you've ever told us about the balancing changes that you've made in the past. It actually is. You guys did quite a bit of that recently. Mysterious Challenger is another one. It's kind of funny. When it comes to going over the top in terms of value, Paladin got the fucking Love Glove. Alright? Holy shit, did it get the Love Glove. But yeah, Anyfin does fly in some of those conventions. It's been stated many times. We don't want OTKs in this game because it's, you know, unreactive, unfun, and generally it creates an environment of toxicity in the meta. Yes, it does. Trust me, it does. So, when you say stuff like that, and then here you go pushing it out, it's a little... So, just saying. Now, this isn't to say that that deck isn't beatable. It's actually very easy to beat. Ask Rexar again. So his response was just, again, boneheaded. Then maybe you should fix that too. But if it wasn't powerful, you wouldn't be playing against it much. And here's the cringe moment. Thanks, Ben. So what you're saying is that because it is powerful, it has validity to exist when it flies in direct conflict of every other statement you've made about balancing and the health of the meta. Now, I will give you some credit. The fact that you gated it at 10 mana is a really important thing. Alright? So that gives you some leeway, and I'm not going to basically say you're full of shit here. But when you count all the means that Paladin has available to healing and prolonging itself to getting there, it gains a little bit more consistency. And it's that consistency that is going to always be the problem when you're talking about an OTK. Now, the reason why I gave you shit about Malygos and Ancestor's Call is because that shit ain't consistent at all. It's like a 1 in 23 shot on a good day. Alright? That's if everything lines up perfectly and you're playing it on curve. On a good day. But any other time, it's like 1 in 15 later on if you've survived that long, and so on and so on. So, I mean, yeah, no, fuck off, Ben. Alright, the Malygos, pretty much anything at Malygos outside of Hunter is nowhere near consistent. And if you want to know why I said Hunter, I'll explain that in a totally different video coming out soon. But, yeah, I'm sorry. there's a difference between, you know, random RNG kaboom versus slightly more consistent kaboom, alright? And that's where I think you really need to pay attention to, which is something I honestly felt initially you didn't really do when it came to Anything Can Happen. But then, as we saw, the community pretty much already figured out how to beat that deck and really didn't care for it too much and just said, whatever, this is a lol gimmick, and moved away. And, of course, here we go. So the answer to my concern that Wild will be broken with silly OTK combos is that Anything is not the only one, so it's okay. You know, some people just love running headfirst into walls without seeing what's ahead of them. And I'm going to say this. This guy's making some pretty big assumptions based on very little information. This is a bad thing to do. This has historically never worked out for anybody's favor at all. Alright? You know? It never works out. It's bad. It's ignorance. It's just bad. So try to avoid that. But again, Ben, don't stop trying to justify that goddamn card with goddamn Ancestors Call and Malygos. That was like the worst thing ever. It's like fucking tires versus oranges. What the fuck? They're not even the same category. Okay, opening old packs. All right. I'm going to surmise this real simple. I used to play Magic the Gathering. I don't play it now because I just don't have the money to support it. When I was playing Alpha, Beta, Antiquities, Arabian Nights, Legends, The Dark, Fallen Empires, I'd say, yeah, alright. I stopped my main collection and playing somewhere after Mirage because I joined the military. When I got out, I picked it up a little bit here or there. Basically, didn't collect, but bought to build decks, which was a lot more fun. Did a couple sealed drafts, constructed drafts, as well as booster drafts and things of that nature. Had a little bit of fun. Normally gave all my cards to my girlfriend at the time, who actually was collecting them. So, yeah. So, I completely understand where this conversation is going. Yes, there is a great, like, nostalgia feeling of opening old packs later on down the road. I mean, you can go to YouTube and watch people opening up, you know, alpha and beta packs of Magic the Gathering, and when they pull a Power 9, it's fucking MLG 420 no-scope time, guys. So, yeah, good times. Alright, standard format. Do you guys really think that standard will solve all the problems that the newbies have? Fuck no! Fuck no, alright? Anybody who thinks that it will is fucking an idiot. And I'm sorry, you are. The biggest problem that new players are going to have in anything is there's a paywall. Now, I hate saying it like that, but there is a fucking paywall, alright? If you want to be a competitive player, you must invest in your competition. You must invest in your tools. You must invest in your training. Okay, so you need to make sure you have enough cards, of value cards, in order to compete. Alright, that means you're going to have to invest heavily in what's available. Okay, so by what they're doing, you basically save them a little bit of money, like $30 for Nax, and actually it's a little bit less if memory serves, and about $230, give or take, for GVG. Cool. That's a pretty big chunk of change. But then you got to look at, you know, League of Explorers and Blackrock Mountain and the Grand Tournament. So this is what they're going to need to be focusing on. Oh, wait, and we've got this new expansion pack coming out, so that's something else they're also going to have to focus on. So let's do some math here. All right, so they're going to have to still get the Classic set. They're still going to have to get the TGT, and they're still going to have to get the new expansions, because there's going to be another one by the end of the year. That's already been established. So, yeah, that's a huge amount of money. You're talking about yearly having to spend, to stay competitive, roughly $500 to $600 in this game. Now, you could also earn gold, which is another great way of doing it. You could play Arena and get whatever that current packs are, yay, whatever. But the other thing is, you don't actually have to have complete sets. You just need to figure out what the most viable cards are. And what's the best way to do it? let's watch what other people are playing. So yeah, you may not be ahead on the curve, but you'll at least be competitive within the curve. All right. But again, if you want to take this game seriously, you got to invest. You ask any pro player, yeah. If you don't invest, you don't play. So it won't solve any problems, but it is going to start reducing the amount of money that's going to have to be spent. All right. So yeah, initially it's going to be something like $230, $250 is going out of the requirement, and then in a couple years later, you're talking about it's going to be coming closer to about $600 less needed to be competitive. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But for those of us who are playing constantly, yeah, we're pretty much signing our paychecks over to Blizzard. True fact. Alright, card backs. Hey, will previous season card backs ever be obtainable again? A few new friends like collecting, but discouraged from missing many. See, this is kind of a double-edged sword. If you bring back old card backs, then the people who've been playing throughout that don't get shit that season, thus they get less rewards. The only thing I came up with that kind of could solve this is, you know, like every so often you do this random ungotten card back thing. That way, you know, people who missed a month or, you know, are newer to the game could get some of those older ones randomly, you know, every so often. But the problem is then, what about the people who've been playing since the beginning? And the only thing that comes to mind is, you know, most likely they don't have every single card back, like the Tespa one, the Samsung one, any of the BlizzCon ones, this, that, and the other. So I guess you could kind of give those away. But then doesn't that kind of devalue, like, those card backs to some degree? And not really, considering they're not... Card backs really don't have too much of an intrinsic value, so I don't know. It's one of those weird places. Alright, and that's all for the article. Now, I'm going to state this right now. Everybody needs to chill the fuck out. I'm not even kidding. You guys need to chill the fuck out, alright? Everybody's making all these grandiose assumptions and trying to thought police and think out everything to the point of, you know, what they're going to be seeing with Standard, what we're going to be seeing with Wild. Dude, you don't even know everything that's going to be happening, alright? We're not going to know any more about this until maybe about a week from now. Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe a little bit less. Who knows? I'm not going to say I know something, but yeah, maybe. So, to make all these assumptions is just really, really bad without any of the information, alright? I mean, historically, that's like worked once, Mr. Columbus. But other times it's ended in some horrific tragedies. So chill the fuck out, wait for more information, and then start your, you know, baby rage and fucking blowing up the goddamn Reddits. Alright? Anyway, so that's all for this video. So, down in the comment section, let me know what you think. Are people fucking losing their goddamn mind and need to shut the fuck up and stop being little bitches? Or do you think they actually have some valid concerns? Let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to these videos. Till next time, this Shiv saying, stay safe, have fun, and may RNGesus bless you, because, well, nobody else will. Peace.